Hello Tool Groupies, Tradesman, Do-It-Yourselfers. Today on the Backwoods Mechanic channel, I'm taking you with me on a few service repair calls. Now, some of what I do is work on industrial dry cleaning machines, commercial equipment, things like that. There's very few of these factories left open. They still run on steam pressure, and I'm talking about steam and everything in their building. They got boilers that feeds their dryers, washers, all their steam press machines, things like that. I just tell you, gas-fired dryers are just more efficient whenever it comes down to it. But you know, these places are still in business. They're going to continue to pay me to come do some repairs to their machines. And that's what we're going to be looking at here today. This one's got a steam leak, as you can see to the left of it. A lot of these jobs I go out when I make service repair calls, people are like, well, how do you do this by yourself? Because, you know, you got these big heavy heat exchangers that you got to pull off the top of these dryers, basically big old coils. They're like, how do you transport them if you're doing it by yourself? It's that because a lot of these things are pretty ginormous, you know. If I come across bigger ones, sometimes if they need brazed or whatnot, you can take your torches with you and just roll them up in there and braze them while they're on the dryer. You'd have to clean everything else off before you do that. But generally, like these 120s right here, the smaller ones, the 50 pounders, stuff like that, them ain't no problem. If I know what I'm doing ahead of time whenever I get to the job, I'll bring stuff with me to do said job. I'll bring the torches with me, DeWalt air compressors, and then sometimes I will bring this one tool right here. One thing I've learned over the years, you use a variety of different stuff to take with you on the road when you're doing any kind of mobile repairs, and a gurney is one of those things. You can pick it up when someone's throwing it out. Works perfect for whatever you need to lug around heavy equipment. I got my welder over here on it, and then of course I got my torches over there. But I got these heat exchangers sitting right here on top of it. I can do a variety of different stuff I need to do, whether it's working and changing traps, rebuilding steam traps, or brazing, all this kind of stuff here. Because I do run across this kind of garbage from time to time. As you can see right there, it looks like putty. I don't know if they put that high temperature putty on it. This is a joke. Never do this to try to get a simple fix, because it ain't gonna work, especially if you gobble it on there like that. You know, call somebody to come in and fix it, because now I'm just gonna have to charge more depending on what kind of crap you come across right there. Another leak on top of one of these industrial dryers, and this is where the heat exchanger is, in behind the lid here. It's always same sizes. To take these loose, you get a little gear wrench back around with you, you can get them off pretty quick. The leak we got on this one is right here. To unfasten this entire heat exchanger, flip it up on its side, and we're gonna braze this one right here on top of the dryer. Right here is the heat exchanger. Basically the lid raises up, sucks the air through the copper coil right here, and then it heats up all the linen on the inside where the basket there is. So break loose these compression fittings, get them out of the way. Some places will have solid steel pipes, other ones will have flare nut fittings. This one's got compression fittings. Crescent wrenches are still widely used today in different types of trades, such as this one right here. Anytime you decide to work on machines, equipment, stuff like that, that's where a crescent wrench will shine. So it's always good to have the right kind of tool to get your job done with a minimum injury, so to speak. Boy, when you're doing this kind of crap by yourself, you got to get creative. You got to make sure to pack around little pieces of wood with you, some bars. That way you can maneuver these big heavy bastards. Brazed around it right here. There was a little pinhole that was over here, some pinholes over here. So I got that done. We're gonna stick it back together, plug it back up. Now if it leaks anymore, we're going to have to pull it off of here and just hook up some air to it. But I think we will be pretty good for what we've done. All right, so as you can tell, got this one here brazed up, was hooking up the steam and the return line. Unfortunately, the nut on this one is damaged, so we're gonna be in our Sur cutter here, cutting this pipe off, putting a new compression fitting on, sticking it back on. So you do this, you plug you an air hose up, you pack you around some different pipe fittings, you plug them into this coil right here where it's still got water inside of it, and it'll provide where the leak is. All you gotta do is have a shut off, bring you some plugs right here, and then you can identify your leaks, like this one. That's from water in the line. Now I can go around and see where it's bubbling at. I'll take me some paint markers and mark everything. There's another one right down here that we need to mark. A second, third stem, fourth stem, fifth, sixth stem. Surprised that stem ain't leaking because all the rest of them are. After we mark all these, we're gonna go to the next coil over there. Get old Betsy smoothed out here. I really should invest in those torches that are built specifically for these things. Typically, I mean, you can braze with your acetylene and oxygen here.
but the problem is it's not nearly as good as the torches that are meant to do the job. You're on a machine around flammable material, and then you have contamination inside of what you're going to braze. It's a pain in the rear end, but at least whenever you do start getting the contamination out, what the trick to it is, get all the silver solder on there you need, and then put the flame out to the right or left of it. Don't put it actually on where you want, and let it heat up the piece. That way, whenever it starts heating up the piece, it'll naturally start melting that silver solder around the edges and into the copper, and then it will make it nice and smooth, and it'll seal it off real good. These are running. Having the right jumbo wrench for the job sure does make life easier. It's better than using a pipe wrench or a pair of pliers. MIT, Michigan Industrial Tools, aka Tecton. I'm in one particular dry cleaning facility now. They've got about 10, 12 dryers in here. At least 10 of them are leaking. It's making the dryers soaking wet, destroying thermostats, the wiring on them, the motors on them. Me and my brother-in-law's coming in to take all these coils off here today. We're going to weld up at least 6 or 7 of them, depending on how much the pipes are going to give us problems, things like that. It's going to be a very busy day or two, because this place here in particular is falling apart. So we're going to do what we can to try to help them out. On the back side of this one right here, you can see where the leak was at. It was right down underneath that putty right there. And then this is the one right directly beside us to the left-hand side. They're actually using this one right now, so definitely in for some work. Dryer number 10 or 12 for the day that we've been welding. Top off of this coil off. And then the top of it off, blowing everything down, because we don't want to set no fires here. As you can see here, I've done got the coil unhooked. We got these here broke loose, heated up pretty good, blew these dryers off real good. You can see how much stuff's been getting down in here on this tub. This is all wet lint. So whenever we reinstall this, we get these welded, I'm going to be putting some kind of silicone right through here to keep this from happening, at least to prevent the electrical from burning out next time. Get this thing off here, get them welded up, and put back together. You know, whenever these things get corroded up a little bit over time, they start springing leaks. And these have been brazed before, and they will probably be brazed again. I've already went through about $600 in brazing rods just over the last 3 days. But there is like 12 different dryers here that we've been going over. Now, unfortunately, my torch has needed some improvements. We got check valves right here, but if you go over here to the torch, there is no arresters. And arresters are basically flashback arresters. These right here, pick these up from Harris. Anytime you're doing silver solder, you're brazing, I do recommend going through Harris.com because they're the cheapest option. Example, $120 for a set of 28 silver solder brazing rods. Not too bad. Whenever I go locally, it's about $150 a box, so there's a difference. Just like this right here, flashback arresters from Flash Guard 4301651 from Harris. Professional tools, superior results. It's for safety. It basically prevents them from blowing up. The safest option is to have flashback arresters mounted right here outside the regulator. Let's have yourself some check valves right here on the lower end of your torches. You're doubly protected. Stainless steel element extinguishes flashback built-in reverse flow check valves. It's B-type hose fittings, 9/16 to 18. Set of 2 flashback arresters for oxygen and acetylene fuel gases. Harris Products is owned by the Lincoln Electrical Group. These are not too bad because this product specifically is made in Germany. Germans know how to do some pretty good quality products. You got your oxygen, the green, red is going to be your acetylene. Now if you buy this specific set, on the inside of the pamphlet here, it does give you some guidelines for acetylene. 15 psi 1 bar, butane 50 psi 3.5 bars, hydrogen 50, MAP gas 22, methane 50, oxygen 143 psi, propane 50 psi. And it gives you some other charts to kind of go over and check out, you know, give you some education on a few things if you need it. This little sucker was leaking, so we tightened it up some more. Here we go. It's another part of what I'm doing is rebuilding a whole bunch of different carts for this one company because they've had all kinds of issues as of late. But we're going to fix them up, make everything like new, try to salvage their business for them.